Welcome to another Tuesday live lesson, this time looking at the gear from Pioneer DJ, AlphaTheta and Rekordbox compatible software, hardware, controllers, standalone units, all of that lot. If you're thinking of buying the undeniably leading brand in DJing, which is this one, then this is going to help you. It's going to help you if you're switching to it, if you're upgrading from maybe cheaper gear to more expensive gear within this ecosystem, or you're completely new to this and you want to know if it's right for you. As ever, we're a DJ school. That means that our advice is completely unbiased. We teach people on all this gear and all the rest of the gear that you can find out there. Ultimately, we're funded by our students, not the companies in this industry, which means you can trust our advice. So today, however, we are talking exclusively this brand. We do this every year. We have a big article on digital DJ tips, which you can find by heading to digitaldjtips.com. Here it is, where we talk through everything that I'm sharing here today. And very soon the video of what we're talking about today will be at the very top of this article. Before we look at the gear though, and I've got all of the gear here to show you, I want to talk to you about what's different about Rekordbox, because all of this hardware, even all the way up to this hardware here, the kind of pro hardware, which we're not covering here because most people can't afford the price of a small car on their DJ gear. So we're covering the stuff that hobby DJs prefer. However, even all the way up to there, what links all this gear together is a piece of software called Rekordbox, because Rekordbox is what you use to prepare your music to play on this kind of gear, on this kind of gear. And also, if you're actually going to DJ with the software, it's the same piece of software, and that makes Rekordbox unique. So let's have a look at it. This is what it looks like. If you're preparing your music in order to export it to plug into gear like this gear here, which is one of the units we're going to be talking about, the XDJ-AZ. So you plug it in at the top here, right? You're preparing your music to do that on a USB drive. You're going to need to use the software. This is what the software looks like. And so part of your job is going to be getting all your music into it. And then once you've got all your music into it, plugging your USB drive in and exporting to it in order to then move it across and plug it into here. So that's one use of this piece of software, Rekordbox. But like I say, Rekordbox is unique because another use is to switch into performance mode. When you switch into performance mode, you're going to be seeing what might look a little bit more like standard DJ software to you, which is what we're looking at here, where you can load tracks onto each deck and DJ with it, right? Like other DJ software, which makes Rekordbox unusual. And it is a big advantage of Rekordbox because it means that you can plug in really small pieces of gear like this here, we recommend these day in, day out to beginners because they just work. This is the DDJ-FLX4. We'll talk about it more in a minute. This is a DJ controller. You can't plug a USB into this. You need to plug a laptop into it and DJ straight from the laptop. So you can start off with something like this, quite cheap, and you can work all your way up, if you wanted, to something like this, but certainly to something like this, where it's up to you whether you plug the laptop in because it can work fine with a USB drive as well. You're going to be using the Rekordbox software all the way through that journey. And that's something that Pioneer DJ, AlphaTheta, depending on who you talk to, AlphaTheta is the newer name for them, but they still use Pioneer DJ. And the Rekordbox software, there's somewhere that ecosystem, something that ecosystem has that no one else has. No one else can start you off on a $200 controller and move you up to a 10 grand club system using the same library, the same cue points, the same analysis, the same everything that you did right from the first day of doing this, right? It's a big advantage of this system, right? So it's important to tell you that before we move forward. Now we've done that, we can move forward and we can start to look at what we've got for you today. Now, I'm going to start by looking at what we think is probably the best unit that you can get overall. And it's this one here, the DDJ-FLX10. This is a replacement for the DDJ-1000, which was very, very popular, but this takes it a stage further. I have one here. This is the DDJ-FLX10. So the DDJ-FLX10 is the all singing, all dancing controller. That means you have to plug in the laptop and use the performance software. If you're happy doing that, this will get you everything. It's got 4 channels, it's got separate stems effects, so you can put like the vocals only through the effects and stuff like that. It's got all the inputs and outputs you could possibly want around the back there. It works with Serato as well, a lot of these units do, so you have a choice of software there. It is, if you want a controller that does it all, then that is the one for you, the DDJ-FLX10. So that's why it's at the top of our list here. We link, by the way, with all of these to a review on Digital DJ Tips, where you'll also find a video review, and also we link to further information on the manufacturer's website. Not affiliate links, because we don't do that stuff. We just let you find out the information. You choose where to buy it. We're not interested. We're here to teach, not to take your money. Okay, so that's the DDJ-FLX10, which is our #1 choice. It is also going to be our one I've got here. This is going to be our second choice. The XDJ-AZ, confusingly AlphaTheta, not Pioneer DJ, but still Rekordbox and still actually Serato as well. This is our second choice. So this is our #1 choice if you want something that is standalone as well. So this will work with a DJ package with Rekordbox and, as I said, with Serato by plugging in your computer, but it will also work with just plugging in the music here. That's why it's got a lovely big screen here as well. This is actually the replacement for the XDJ-XZ or XZ, which was underpowered compared to this. It had 4 channels, but you could only use 2 of them with the USB drive and stuff like that. This has corrected all of that. This is a really, really nice unit. Around the back, it's got all the things you could possibly want to plug in and out, although slightly fewer than the XDJ-XZ that came before it, curiously, but most of the stuff you'll need is there. But you can see it's got big, full-size jog wheels, just like the ones you find over here on the CDJ 3000 units. It's got the big pads from controllers, so it's kind of a mix between the way that the CDJ 3000s are laid out and the way controllers are laid out, but they're big pads, right? All the control you want here, they're full color. As I say, a lovely screen. And the controls here, the mixer is really pretty much exactly the same as this mixer here. To all intents and purposes, you're getting the same mixer, the same 6 sound color effects down here, the same effects strip down here, more or less, and so on. So this feels like playing on club gear, but it's not, and it's a lot cheaper than buying something like this. Although it's not cheap at all, it's very expensive. So the XDJ-AZ is our second choice. Very good if you, again, want the best of everything, but you do also want the ability to play away from your laptop as well. Again, full reviews written up of all of these over on the website. You can find them at digitaldjtips.com. Go find the post that I'm showing you now. Our third choice then is another standalone unit, which I've got over there, but it's too heavy to pick them all up and show them to you, so I'll show you the picture. It is the Opus Quad. Let's just zoom in on it, because this is an interesting little unit to look at, right? It's got kind of wood effect around the sides here, which you can't see very well in this picture, and it's like a piece of furniture. It looks good in your living room, right, with the copper finish on the knobs and so on. It is essentially this unit here, but just in a look that would be more suitable for high-class weddings, for, again, having it at home if you just want the best system at home. Notice how it's got the big screen in the middle and 2 gorgeous screens either side as well. It's got the buttons across the top here, right? See those buttons there? There's nothing underneath the jog wheels. In that way, it's more similar to the way these are laid out with the buttons across the top. So it's got, again, it's a kind of hybrid feel of the club gear and not club gear, but you know, you're going to want to go for one or the other of the XDJ-AZ or the Opus Quad, which is just off camera, but hey, there's the picture of it. Some DJs prefer this one. Now, this one's downside is it hasn't got the connectability of the XDJ-AZ. This XDJ-AZ, you can plug in all kinds of extra gear and stuff. This one here really is made to be used on its own, and in a rather stylish package, as you can see. So that's the Opus Quad, and that is our third choice. Our fourth choice is the GRV6. This is a lot cheaper, but you get quite a lot for your money with the GRV6. And we like it a lot more than the one that came before it. Let's have a look at it. So, you're getting the full-size jog wheels. They're the kind of older mechanical ones. Some people prefer those. Notice they make a noise, as opposed to these ones here, which don't. These are kind of the more modern ones, but they're the same size. It's got 4 channels. It's got these kind of quite interesting, they call them the groove circuit. They just let you mess around with the drums on the tracks you're playing, which can be fun. It's got the cue buttons across the top and not at the bottom. Again, they're playing with the way they lay these things out. It's a lot cheaper, like I say. Now, the reason it's cheaper is that it's it's quite lightweight. It's a bigger version of the cheaper controllers, not a smaller version of the more expensive ones, if you know what I mean. It's a plasticky build, very few inputs and outputs around the back compared to the likes of controllers like this one here, for instance, systems like this one here. However, if what you want is something that looks good, that has 4 channels, that has got decent jog wheels, and that won't break the bank, this is it. And it's got another advantage, which is it works with Serato. And so not only the cheap version of Serato, but more or less the full version, which is good because you get a choice of software there. It's a little bit more expensive than the one it replaces, which is a shame because it does push the price a little bit too high in my view. But if you can get the GRV6, the DDJ-GRV6 on discount, it's a good buy. So look for a bargain on it, and I'd say that's worth going for if you haven't got the money to buy something like the FLX10. So that's our number 4 choice. Let's scroll down then to our next one, which is, you've already seen it, the DDJ-FLX4. And so the DDJ-FLX4 is just a fantastic starter unit. It's small, it's light, it's got everything that you need, 2 channels, all the pads at the bottom. Everything is laid out similar to this gear here. So if you finally move up to this gear at some point, not only will you be sharing the same library and so on that you first had when you bought your first controller, but you'll have at least some familiarity with the way it works. You know, the play pause, the looping at the top, and the call buttons and so on. Even the mixer layout is a small version of what you get over on the main gear. More importantly, it's easy to transport, it's good value, it's plastic build, but they don't break, they last forever. This is my favorite controller. There's a lot of cheap budget controllers out there, but the good thing about this one is it's the only controller at this price point that works with Rekordbox. And if you want Rekordbox because you want to move up to finally play on gear like this and so on at some point, this is the obvious choice, and that's where it wins against other budget controllers. The DDJ-FLX4. And that means it's time to scroll down to our 6th choice as we count down or count up our favorite Pioneer DJ, AlphaTheta and Rekordbox gear. And this one here is a hugely popular unit. If you've been out and about in bars around your town, I'm going to hazard that you've seen the XDJ-RX3 because it's just such a popular unit among the kind of DJs that don't play clubs, they play bars and so on. I think bars buy these units as well because they know that most DJs will be happy playing on them. So if they turn up and they've got this, it's almost like a small version of the Pro gear. Here it is. The XDJ-RX3. Only got 2 channels, smaller jog wheels, it's got the pads at the bottom here, the same familiar layout, really nice and heavy and well built, loads of inputs and outputs around the back. This is cut down professional gear. So when I said the GRV6 is like you know, souped up cheap gear, this is like a cut down version of this here, which is good because you are getting a professional unit. You're not getting something that in any way is unprofessional. What you're not getting is the extra channels and some of the features. The big feature that the XDJ-RX3 lacks, which I think is a real shame, is any kind of key shifting. You cannot shift the keys of the tracks to match each other, which is a shame. They could have put that in there, I think. You get that on the Pro gear, you get that on this one here as well, but you don't get it on that. But apart from that, it ticks pretty much all the boxes. It's a workhorse, it's reliable. And that's why people love it, I think. Now, another one that I think is sometimes unfairly maligned is this little one here. This is the Omnis Duo. This is clearly modelled on another one that came before it from a different brand, the Denon DJ Prime Go. But this is their take on it. This is Pioneer DJ's take on it, AlphaTheta's take on it. This is a little bit bigger than that one that it's modelled on, which means that it can have full-size jog wheels and a more conventional layout. Same kind of 7-inch screen here. This runs software that means you don't need to have your USB drive with you. You just, your laptop with you. You just plug your USB drive in. So it's a very, very small version of this, basically, very small version of it. Wedding DJs. Mobile DJs who play smaller gigs like this because it's got a battery built in. It's easy, it's portable to take and play in places where otherwise you maybe would struggle to set your gear up. Again, professional inputs and outputs around the back. It ticks a lot of boxes. And as I say, doesn't seem to, I might be wrong, but it doesn't seem to have hit the ground running. It's a couple of years old now, but we really like it. We think it does what it does well. So that's called the Omnis Duo. And that brings us to the end of our list. Look, if you're still confused about this, and I completely understand if you are, there's a lot of gear out there, do head over to the article I was just talking about on digital DJ tips, which is what I've been talking you through here, because if you go there and click the link at the bottom, you can join Digital DJ Tips. It's completely free to join our website, and when you do join our website, we'll give you our gear guide for free. Our gear guide talks you through all your options, not just with this brand, but with all the brands. Not only will we give you that for free, we'll give you our best-selling Amazon book for free. We want you to get up on your gear. We want you to understand how DJing is done, because when you do those things, you're more likely to buy one of our fantastic DJ courses. And you can find out about our DJ courses, of course, as ever, over on our website at digitaldjtips.com. But that's it for our roundup of the Pioneer DJ, AlphaTheta and Rekordbox gear. Other than, because we're live and live is fun, we're going to spend the rest of our time together today. And even if you're watching the replay, hang around, because I want to share some comments and some feedback from our audience, and these are always fun. It's always good to hear what people have to say about this stuff. And we've got a very busy set of comments here, as I can see on my screen already. We always do have. So hello to the Rockers and Jack and Mike and Technobeat TV, who's not been here for a while. Hello to Easy DJ and Don and Kesha, and to Benny. Hey Benny, nice to see you, my friend. Hello to Robert, who says, I'm getting the opportunity to be here live again, and it's great. It's been a long time. Yeah, it's nice to have you back, Robert. And hello to Stevie B and to Nuta Maximilian. I love your tutorial for this one, says Nuta. Oh, thank you very much for that. Right, okay, I'm going to scroll down and find some of your comments. This is from Mix Factory, who says, AlphaTheta make good hardware. The software is up among the worst ever. We hear this a lot. We've got lots of coverage. We have a course for the software Rekordbox. So we understand what you're talking about. Rekordbox is not the best package. It is clunky. It has idiosyncrasies. They keep messing up the way that they charge for it. It breaks. It's not the best software. Rekordbox for exporting your music to play on devices like this is actually very good. The library is better than any other library. In other words, you can tag and you can have music organized in all kinds of ways that no other DJ software lets you do. When it comes to performing with it, it's got some features that are pretty good. It's got some innovative stuff going on around the cloud, for instance, and so on. But I agree with you. It is average to poor in places. And it's a bugbear. You know, I don't think there's, apart from Algorithm's DJ Pro, I don't think there's any piece of DJ software that is up to the standards of the software you find in photography and video and music production and other creative arts like that. I just don't. I don't think any of it's up there. And Algorithm's DJ Pro has got its own problems because it's made by coders, and they haven't got the hardware ecosystem to link it with, so that when it comes to DJing, everything works properly. So I don't think there is such a thing as a perfect piece of DJ software. Rekordbox, we've covered the advantages of it today, and as you're pointing out, there are disadvantages as well. There is no perfect solution. There just isn't. So when it comes to DJ software, you pick your poison really, and you stick with it. Michael says, I love my Flex 10. It's an amazing piece of kit. Mike says, I love my Flex 4. Well done, Kesha, by the way. Your mix is coming on. Lots of students here like to share where they're getting up to in their training, and I certainly will always share that back again. Phil, I would love to see if the Flex 4 controller, I would have loved to have seen the Flex 4 controller around in the 2000s. It's a great price. However, it's not like what it used to cost for vinyl and turntables. No, tell me about it. I mean, turntables, I remember when I bought my first pair, they were about the equivalent of about $1,200 back then. And then you have to get a mixer as well and so on. It's a lot of money. And now you can do, you know, they say that there's more technology in your phone than they use to land a man on the moon. It's the same with the DJ apps in your phone have got more than this has got by quite a long way. So yeah, we've moved on a long way since the vinyl days. That's for sure, people. So what's the difference between CDJs in a club and the XDJ-AZ all-in-one unit in terms of club class and quality? Very little difference. They've both got great audio quality. You've got one screen here, but you've got two screens over here, which means that you have got more, you know, more real estate to look at your actual music. You've got more going on the mixer here than here, but it's a close call. Ultimately, this is designed for prosumers, if you like, for professional consumers, and also for places where it wouldn't be cost effective to have the pro gear. But ultimately, it's going to sound and do pretty much the same thing. But the reason that this gear is popular in properly professional environments is mainly because it's modular. That breaks, you put another one in. Someone wants 4, you set up 4. Someone only wants the mixer and they're bringing their own stuff, you take them away. This is professional gear for a reason. It costs more without giving you more features or better sound quality, but with giving you more flexibility. That mixer has got so many more inputs and outputs on the back than this mixer here has got. But to use it, it feels very much the same. If you're buying to use at home or to take out as a DJ with something you want to carry around with you, this is almost certainly the best bet. If you're buying for a club, you already know that this is what you need, right? So they're looking at different market segments, but usability wise, very little to choose between them. Certainly not wasting your money on something like that when something like this would do. What else have we got? The GRV6 is really decent for what it does, says Nuta. Yes, I agree with you, it is. The Flex 4 is a good controller. It's just as good as the DDJ-400, which I've got. Yeah, it's got some slight differences, but I would never upgrade from yours to this one for certain. Damn, you're making me feel bad about my GRV6. Why? It's a good little unit. All right, it's not got all the professional ins and outs of this, but you knew that when you bought it, right? Does what it does what it does, fine. I've got a Flex 4 fill, but it's got no booth output. I'd like to be able to add a booth monitor, but also connect to a PA system. How would I do this? It's an interesting one. So for those of you that don't know, most controllers like this one here, or most expensive ones, will have, see these outputs here? They're designed to give you different outputs for different things. And so here we have 2 sets of volume controls, the booth volume control and the master volume control. So this one is for the club, this one is for the speakers that are near you. So how do you do it? There's a few ways you can do it. One of the ways that we often recommend people follow, one of the routes we often recommend people follow, is to get themselves a small outboard mixer. This is a small outboard mixer or a live mixer, right? So what you do is you plug the output from the back of your DJ gear into the input of a small mixer like this. You can buy mixers like this for about $80, into the inputs on here. And then this has got loads of outputs. So you'll find 2 sets of controls at the bottom for 2 outputs, right? There's 3 actually. So this will let you then route that off. This will also let you plug in a computer if you wanted to record. If for some reason you couldn't record from the unit you were using. Also let you plug in other DJs. Also let you EQ the whole output. So let's say you're DJing somewhere where there's no bass, right? So you end up DJing with all your bass controls high like this. Well, that's not ideal. You know, these controls are really for being creative. They're not for making the whole room sound better. So rather than do that, if you plug in a little mixer like this, you can just turn the bass up on the mixer and that does it for everything you do, right? So these are like Swiss Army knives. In the end, you'll end up buying a small mixer. They're called live mixers. Mackie do a really good set. This is a PV one. You can get them smaller than this. They're just, they're a Swiss Army knife of audio. And if you bought one of those, you would find a use for it. So that's another way of doing it. It's probably the best way of doing it. Okay, so the XDJ-RR is what a DJ who I respect recommends, but I don't see a review of it. It's very, very, very old, the XDJ-RR. It's all right, but I'd get the RX3 over that nowadays any day of the week. What's your thoughts on Apple Music? Oh, this isn't quite on topic, but we'll cover it very quickly because I like to help our students out. Apple Music, blending your music together. Yes, it's annoying. Apple Music will mix up the music you own with the music that you're subscribed to on the streaming service, but your DJ gear will only play the music you own. Cue confusion. My view is it's a mess, don't use it. Okay, I'm looking at the Omnis Duo, says Anil. As my intermediate unit, I've got the XZ for major gigs and I've got the Rev 1 for little gigs and then the Omnis to fill the void. Well, you're lucky enough to be able to own all this gear, so I'm with you there. Nick says the Omnis Duo performs fine for me so far. Bluetooth is great for missing tracks. Yes, it's got Bluetooth, so you can Bluetooth the track in, and it's got a clever way of kind of buffering that track so you can scratch it in and stuff, which is quite clever for Bluetooth. The problem with Pioneer all-in-one controllers is that their versions of Rekordbox are not standard in each unit. That's not really a problem. I mean, they do innovate slightly, but pretty much it always works the way it works, and as they introduce new units, they refine it and make it better. I don't see that as a problem. I think they're very careful to make sure that it's quite easy to pick up on whichever of their units you're DJing on myself. I partially disagree with the list. You are allowed to. These are the ones that we recommend. But I absolutely love the RX3, the AZ and the FLX4. Everyone has different tastes, but for me, Denon is simply more streamlined. Says TechnoBeat TV. Yep, we're not talking about other brands today. We have done that and we will continue to do that in other tutorials. I think we're pretty much done there. I'm going to just read a story. We always like stories from our students, so we're going to end with a story. This is from Roman, who says, on Friday, I had a gig street party for 50 people. For the first time, I used a Pioneer DJ Opus Quad with my laptop, not standalone with my laptop. And I streamed from Tidal on request mostly. Using Rekordbox, it was working very well, but I do think that Algorithms DJ Pro is better for playing requests. So there you go, from the street, days old, literally. Though that advice is hours old. Just last Friday, Roman says that when it comes to actually on the fly, having to feed in streaming tracks to keep your people happy, he prefers Algorithms DJ Pro, a piece of software we talked about at the top of this show. To Rekordbox. Thank you very much, everyone. If you've got questions about this, if you're watching the recording on YouTube or Facebook, that's fine. Ask them underneath. That's what we're here for. And if you want to know more about any of these units, remember, over on the Digital DJ Tips website, you will find our reviews of all of these, and I'll show you how to get to those now. Just head to the reviews tab at the top of digitaldjtips.com, go to the DJ Gear tab, and then go down to what you want. So you might want the DJ controllers and standalone controllers, and then select the software you want. So I want Rekordbox controllers here, and there you go. You can see there's reviews of everything that works with Rekordbox, including all the things that we just talked about. Cool, that's it. Thank you for being here. Get good, get out there, make the moments. I'll see you again very soon. From me, Phil, here in the school studio. Bye-bye for now.